Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Decode Plus. I am your hostess, Taylor May, joined as always by my co-host, Kenneth Cardez. We are coming to you on this very, very, very hot July evening.
It's hot. It's hot.
It's even worse for me right now because our AC is on the fritz again. I had to talk to the office about that this morning.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like...
It's always the most uncomfortable.
When I tell you that... Because we've already had to call them out here twice within the past, recent months to come and take a look at our AC because it's been struggling. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll recharge the Freon. That worked for maybe a week, and then it started struggling again. They come out, take a look at it, they tweak something else, and it worked for, a week, and then it started struggling again. So when I went down there to the office, I showed them my electric bill of what I've been having to pay these past couple months because our air conditioning unit has basically just been sitting there doing a hot load and nothing. When I tell you that the property manager's eyes went wide as dinner plates when I showed her my bill, I'm not gonna say the number, but it's something. It's I've never had a power bill that high ever, and I've been in apartments bigger than this one that arguably take more energy to cool than this one normally should. And yet, here we are!
Hopefully, things have cooled down since, somewhat.
a little bit. I'm experimenting with some ventilation options, just kind of in my studio and in my room, just to kind of, at the very least, just keep air flowing. So that way it's just not stagnant air, and then breathing in, I can actually have some kind of a breeze. But I think I have a setup that works. It's not working right now because I'm live, and the setup requires that door behind me to be open, and the wife is in the living room watching anime right now. So I'm trying not to have any audio bleed through. But anyway, this is pretty much going to be your show today, Ken, because you have a lot of stuff you want to talk about, a lot of games you've been playing that you want to review. From what you've told me, and maybe one or two hot takes. Oh my God, Ken has a hot take on Decode Plus. What a shock!
What a shock, right? I think it comes with the territory at this point.
It's like Decode Plus having hot takes. The horror. Anyway, shall we get started with Destiny?
I mean, that's part of the hot takes, but I want to get the newsy one out of the way first a little bit.
Right.
Because Ubisoft was making the rounds earlier because their CEO decided to say that Star Wars Outlaws did bad because Star Wars has been in a really weird spot right now. And I'm just like, this company will say anything to avoid any type of accountability. In that same, I guess it was one of those investor calls or whatnot, they were also people like microtransactions because they're fun. And I'm just trying to figure out where the data is on any of that. Because even the top Rainbow Six Siege streamer has resorted to streaming Clash Royale over Rainbow Six Siege because of how bad that game is with the microtransactions, and their recent update didn't really fix anything. I just don't understand how some of these companies can just be so tone deaf and so blind and so naive to the things that they do that turn gamers off. Especially Ubisoft.
Saying that your game isn't doing well because Star Wars is in a weird place. I've read VTuber apology Google Docs with less deflection than that. What the hell?
It's true.
Tell me what I'm telling lies. Really...
But that was just one of those things that I was like, what? You know that meme picture of like the white lemur where it's just sitting like it's one of those like taxidermy style
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
pictures where it's a
yeah.
white
And it's
lemur
just like,
where the white lemur has its arms outstretched like what? That's how I feel when it came to that statement. Like, I love using that meme because it's always that one, and then there's the one where it's like pointing up and the words "Y" appear. Um, that's one of my favorite gifs ever. Like I just love using that so much. That's one of the if I could do a GIF live on the air, that would be the one I'd use for Ubisoft. Just why?
I should see if I can get that set up as a macro for next month's show, just in case we need it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
short answer,
games.
it's Ubisoft being Ubisoft. That's like there's your why.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is nothing new for them. But anyway,
But yeah, to your point, yes, I have been playing a lot of games. Three things have released, two actual games. One is an expansion of sorts, and I always love to talk about Destiny, even though I know like Destiny itself is just one of those mixed bags for people. You know, a lot
sure.
of people are tired of the live service thing. I get it, but it's a game that I love, and I actually, and at the same time, I loathe sometimes because Destiny is just one of those games that always does like two steps forward and then one step back. And then there's times where it does like one step forward and then two steps back, and it's just like a vicious cycle. Um, but the main point is that I'm trying to make is that this was their first new expansion since finishing their big 10-year saga. The Final Shape DLC, which launched early in 2024, was sort of like the capstone of their first big epic saga. You know, we defeated the big bad. Basically, that was the Avengers Endgame
Excuse me.
of, you know, the Destiny saga.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting this whole new story, this whole new start of the saga. And you know, I played the campaign, and I liked the story. There was just other things that I was disappointed in because Bungie had the bright idea to like completely reset so much stuff. And yes, they went into it saying like, yeah, we're gonna redo the gear, we're gonna redo the leveling up system. But I don't even think they knew how to really fully implement it, and I'll get into why in just a moment, but I want to talk about like the main story. I really enjoyed this new expansion. The enigmatic group that's in this story, we've heard of the Nine throughout the original, you know, 10 plus years of the original Destiny and Destiny 2 saga.
Mm-hmm.
The Nine were always this mysterious group kind of lurking in the background, and now they're pushed full front and center, almost to the point that they're almost going to become, you know, spoiler alerts, they're almost going to become the next villains, so to speak, because of how they've
Ooh.
manipulated things and revelations that came through in this particular expansion. Um, just to kind of sort of bring people into what the story was like. Um, One of the members of the Nine, she decides to break free um, from the Nine, which is something that is unheard of because if you are part of the Nine, your will is not your own. You're basically not in control. But she manages to break free. And the Nine are just like, okay, yeah, you can do that. But you know, you just gotta find a replacement. Um, so much of the story is like trying to figure out who this replacement is, um, why it's so important that they find it, and you know, kind of like a little bit inside look into just who the Nine are and how not all of them have the best interests of the universe in mind. And there are some that were just like, yeah, the rest of you are kind of crazy. I'm gonna try to help out this Guardian character and these Destiny people because you guys are rolling into the deep end. So it was really interesting to see all of that kind of like unfold over the course of the story. Um, and then like other twists and turns, you know, this character you meet, this new character who is literally ripped from time, because that's something the Nine can do. Like, yeah, we
Of
can,
course.
you know, we could bring people forth from times. uh,
Being
to the chat, why is this plot summary giving me Battlestar Galactica vibes? Yes, they pretty much went everywhere. They mixed in Battlestar Galactica. They took some elements from Control, specifically that there was during the Golden Age, which is like our present time. There was actually a department investigating all this weird phenomena that were events caused by the Nine. One of the weapons in the game may have been the weapon that killed JFK. Like that's how deep
what?
they go into it. So JFK was killed by a futuristic weapon.
Suddenly
So
that
yeah, like
so,
they
wait,
go.
wait. No, hold on. Wait. That would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Knowing what we know about that day. Also, I did just want to interject. This one member being able to leave the Nine as long as they find a replacement, they're being cool with that. That has the same energy as your manager saying, "Yeah, it's fine if you call out. Just find someone to cover your shift."
Pretty much, yeah. That's basically what it was like. Um, but yeah, like the story is just really well. The new location is a lot of fun because it's literally a planet on the edge of the solar system that was literally ripped from time. It has humans that evolved differently because they came from a different time period and didn't grow up with like what we know. They basically existed with the stuff that existed in the Destiny universe. Um, so like they just throw a lot of stuff at us, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is very much the beginning of a new saga. Of course, the expansion ends in a very big cliffhangery story, which naturally what Destiny does is they have the campaign, and then a couple of days after the campaign, they do the big, MMO styled raid where, you and five of your buddies get together to try to take on this new challenge. And the raid is kind of like the actual like end game of the particular plot points that are made in Destiny.
Okay.
Uh, so, it involves the Vex. The Vex are a race that try to experiment with time, but they've never really experimented with time travel. So obviously, with everything that I just told you, and with the Nine, the Vex all of a sudden are like, "Oh, they can do that. We should probably study these guys." So the Vex are looking for the Nine too.
Mm.
So of course that comes to head with our characters and the evil Vex in this raid, where a very powerful Vex comes up at the end. Anyway, long story short, this raid came with a mixed bag because of all the gameplay changes that were in the game, and because when they do the raid launch, they generally try to do like this big contest mode where it's a little bit more difficult because certain things are not allowed in the raid for the first 48 hours. And everyone's trying to race to get that big world's first title. And when I say title, I mean legitimately a title. If you are part of the world's first team, they literally send you a championship belt. You and your five friends who did this, and you get a belt commemorating that you were the world's first team to complete this raid. Um, which I think is cool. Like it's cool that you can get physical rewards and stuff like that. Um, Part of the difficulty was because of all the gameplay changes that they made. It wasn't really fully disclosed on how like damage worked, how abilities worked, and a lot of people kind of like just grind it out, going with what they knew from previous Destiny expansions, but not towards what the new system was really trying to teach you. So
Mm-hmm.
this raid went on for hours. I think it wasn't completed until about almost 19 hours into the 48-hour contest.
Jeez.
Yeah, so a lot of complaints from the community because of what they thought was gameplay bugs, but really was a bunch of things that weren't made public. And then it came to fruition that Bungie accidentally forgot to release certain parts of the patch notes when this expansion released. And I say that with question marks because I'm like, there's no way you forget
How?
to. I'm just like, there's no way you forget that.
The,
Like, those are. I could picture Taylor's face right now. Yeah, but it's a big whoopsie. Um,
I'd
yeah, so
say.
that aspect.
How
So
do
yeah,
you
I
forget
was
to
trying.
release the like even part of the patch notes? How is that a thing? How do you even how do you f up that royally,
I don't know. Um,
bruh?
but the raid experience combined with my expansion experience, where I encountered for the first time ever playing Destiny, I encountered actual game crashes, getting booted to the start screen while I was trying to play the campaign. Um, I was so disheartened and so upset that I requested a refund, which is currently still in investigation because they're trying to. As I said, I submitted my bug reports and everything, so apparently it's under investigation from the PlayStation support team or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I mean, if it doesn't get refunded, whatever, like I'm still playing the game regardless. But I just felt like as a consumer, going through that experience, especially with a company that's been at this long, I'm tired of it. I just want my stuff to work when I pay for it. That's all I want. Then you like kind of forget to release patch notes that would have given us information that would have helped the raid experience a little bit more.
Could you imagine how much more of an uproar there would have been if that 48-hour period expired and no one was able to beat the raid? And that's when we
Right?
find out, oh, wait, we forgot to release part of the patch notes to go over like the new mechanics and the changes to the gameplay and stuff. Our bad. No, 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 no. You don't just get to our bad that. Like, no. Like, they're lucky. They are lucky that they eventually figured it out and got it done. But at the same time, like I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. I have spent so many years of my life singing Bungie's praises for their work with the Halo franchise, which this is public knowledge. It's my favorite gaming franchise in the world and of my life. To now this. What happened, Bungie? What happened?
I think it's just the pressure of live service games. This DLC had less than half of the pre-orders from the final shape, and a lot of actually no, excuse me, from Lightfall. Lightfall was one that had a lot of hype, had over 1 million pre-orders, and that particular expansion was awful. That when it came to the final shape, a lot of people, I think about half that number, final shape at launch, and then most people just beat the campaign, beat the raid, and then that was it. You saw this like incredible downtrend in the player base numbers. And then when you look at this expansion, I think this expansion only had like 150,000 concurrent players at launch. You're talking in a almost 2 to 3 year span, you had 1 million people who pre-ordered this to 150K. That is a steep drop. And it's funny because I correlate this to another live service game that recently was announced that they're finally pulling the plugs on the servers. And I had no idea still even up and running. And of course, I'm talking about EA's Anthem, which was heralded as the Destiny killer. And it's funny that gets thrown around a lot. And I'm like, if there's anything that's going to kill Destiny, it's Destiny itself. But yeah, I thought Anthem like still had their servers on. Like I thought, done and over with. Like that game flopped hard, and I was like, good riddance. I'm never touching this again. And that was like within the first couple of weeks of the game. We had a notoriously epic stream. I think it was either the beta where I'm streaming the beta for this very channel and I'm falling through the floor. Like, it's glitch central. It was bad. I think we even had like a clip where we use our ever famous old Gil meme that we had here at Digital Era.
Mario just posted it in the chat for anyone
I
watching
think
that wants to go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. Go check it out after the podcast.
Yeah, it was so bad. I still laugh at that. I know exactly what video he posted, and I can hear the song that he played for it. Like, that's how bad. And it's just funny because, like, you know, Destiny is one of the few that is still going somewhat strong. Yes, it kind of hit like a snag with the player base right now, and that's to be expected. People are kind of outgrowing the whole live service model, and the only ones that are sticking with it are like the faithful that love the game. And Destiny is a game I love. It's also a game that sometimes I loathe, but for some reason it's like a really bad ex that you keep going back to because she cooks really good food for you. You know?
Oh God, that sounds like
she's hot.
That sounds like me with Rocket League. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
That's exactly how I feel, you know. But I think this is the one time where, as a consumer, I feel slighted, and I'm just like, this is not the experience that I expected, and that's why I requested the refund, because I'm just like, no, like, you guys aren't doing what I know you're capable of, and you're obviously more than capable of it because you did it all during the final shape. The final shape was amazing. It sucks that like it didn't reach the player base that it did, but again, that's to be expected when the previous expansion was such a letdown. Like, you know, it happens. It's just funny to think that, like, of all the live service games, like, Destiny is the one that's still around and kicking. And of course, you have a couple of others. You have games like Warframe. Warframe's still going. You know, Fortnite's the Battle Royale king at this point. You know, you have games like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals that, for the most part, they're just kept alive by a faithful player base. Because even Marvel Rivals is experiencing a downtrend in concurrent players. So, you know, it's just always interesting to see these games that the gaming media tries to say, oh, this is going to be the such and such killer, and then we just look at it and we go, nah, that game's going to be either dead on arrival or it's just never going to reach the capability of these other live service games. And you know what? That kind of gives me a topic for next show. I think we should go into some of the live service games that didn't make it.
That could be interesting to talk about.
So that's something for another show. I don't want to, drag us on because we got other games to talk about and stuff like that.
You do bring up a good point though about Warframe. Like, if you really think about it, like, for how long it's been around, Warframe really has been one of the juggernauts of live service gaming for how long they've been around, and the fact that they're still, dare I say, successful all these years later.
They are successful.
Like,
Warframe has its own convention every year. TennoCon happens every year without fail. And they always announce something new at TennoCon. So that's how, it gets hype, and they get the updates and they get the new DLC. And, Warframe is still kicking. Like, I obviously would never get back into it. The grind was just too much for me.
I tried back in the day, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
This last TennoCon, they announced a whole new game that looks fantastic. It's a game called Soulframe. Apparently, it's like in a alpha or beta now. Looks fantastic. It's like very, martial arts looking, with the samurai Bushido look of the characters and stuff like that. Just picture Warframe with like an Onimusha skin, or a Warframe with a Ghost Kojima skin, and you have Soulframe.
Okay, you have my attention.
Definitely check out the if you get around to it. Just look at the
Yeah.
soul frame reveal. I was impressed. I'm like, oh, this look. It has my attention.
Oh yeah. Also, in that list of live service games that are still kicking. Thank you, Mario, for reminding us to be sure to include the game of the year every year until the server shut down. The heat death of the universe, where Sony fumbles again. Helldivers 2.
Yes, Helldivers 2, the game that just continually manages to impress time and time again. I'm looking forward to the next big thing that they do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, Helldivers 2 has been amazing,
it's
every single aspect, except the bug divers, and I have a very special present for you. Anyway,
yeah, bug divers are the reason we fail most major orders.
I just realized
So
the audio listeners have absolutely no idea what I just did. You know what? Go watch the video podcast.
yeah, it was improper sign language. That's what we refer to it as.
Oh my god.
Uh, anyway, so that's enough about live services and Bungie and Destiny. Um, I think we have two games that released recently, and one of the things that we love to discuss on this show is our games that represent the year. You know, the game of the year conversation comes up, and obviously we've spoken in great detail about our love for games like Clear Obscure, games like Split Fiction, um, and we've had two that came out fairly close to one another, um, that are going into that game of the year conversation. And of course, everyone knows that I am a huge fan of Hideo Kojima. Love his Metal
Really?
Gear
I had no
series.
idea.
Shocking, I know. Um, Obviously, Death Stranding was a game that I loved in great detail. One of my favorite reviews that I've written for a written portion of the site. Um, find that over on our website. We still have our reviews up there. And if you're wondering when more are coming, about that. Um, things are in the works. You'll find out soon enough. The written content's still being migrated because we actually are in the process of doing a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um,
A lot of stuff happening behind the curtain, so bear with us please. We're working on it.
yeah. But that was a review that I really enjoyed writing. And Death Stranding was a phenomenal experience when it came out. Then the pandemic happened, and then that's when the game actually got more of its hype. So obviously, part two's out now, and it's full of the same Hideo Kojima craziness we've come to know and love. And if you're wondering if he could repeat the experience again that we had with the first Death Stranding, I can say resoundingly yes. This game goes places, and if you thought the first one went places, this game goes even beyond that, which I didn't think was possible. I played through the first Death Stranding, and I was like, how does he top this? And then you get Death Stranding 2, and the first almost 4 hours of the, and I say 4 hours because Hideo Kojima, he's gonna load you with cinematics
Of
that go
course.
on forever. But the first 4 hours, the gut punch that happens at the end of those 4 hours was what made me realize, yeah, he's gonna go above and beyond. That's how powerful the game's opening moments are. And it's funny that we've had two games now that people weren't sure of. You know, if you look at something like Claire Obscure, you look at something like Death Stranding 2, both very different games, obviously. You know, one is a turn-based RPG, and one is this open-world exploration, action, stealth hybrid thing. It's its own genre. Like that's how
Yeah.
great of a designer Hideo Kojima is. Makes a game, and he literally just creates a genre. Um, you have these two games that have very similar story ethos, where you you start off at a particular point in the game. You're like, oh, this is cool. You get used to the world. You get explanations of things, and then once the game has said, okay, you're ready, then it punches you in the gut and said, wow, you're telling me I haven't experienced nothing yet. And it's moments like that that make me appreciate video games, because video games, much like movies, much like a really good book, you know, they always have a moment where you get that emotional hit and you're now compelled to see it through the rest. You know, that's something that happens in a good movie. That's something that happens in any book. You get through the intro, you get the characters, and then you start slowly piecing together little things that are happening back on, and then there's like something begins the roller coaster ride, so to speak. Um, and that's like Death Stranding 2 in the most non-spoiler nutshell I could give you. And I know that this show is titled Spoiler Warning, but Death Stranding 2 is one of those games that I do not want to spoil, just because the experience is that good.
Isn't there a mission in Death Stranding 2 where you make a delivery to a VTuber? Is that actually
Yes,
a thing?
that is actually a thing. So game starts off in Mexico to kind of like introduce you to like the mechanics and the things like that.
Mhm.
An event happens, and then you find your way to Australia. And while you're in Australia, about a good, if doing the game at a good pace, at a good like 15, at around the 15 to 20 hour mark,
Mhm.
there's a series of missions where you're delivering pizza to people because they're hungry. And one of the people that you can find is the VTuber. Name's escaping me. Maybe you.
It's Usada Pekora.
Yeah, I was thinking. I know it's something Pecco. When you complete their missions, you get their hat, and as you wear the hat while you're running through the game, Norman Reedus' character is consistently saying Pecco, 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 and even while you're fighting, he's like Pecco, Pecco. You know, it's hilarious. It's just one of those things that Hideo Kojima is known for, because he will breach the fourth wall in so many different ways. It's very meta. But yes, that is one of the missions in the assist a VTuber who, in this particular game, they're actually like an engineer, and they make mines and bombs.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
And if you thought that was for like the mission before, with deliveries for the pizza guy is like this martial artist. And when you complete their missions, you get their move set to use in combat.
Really?
And they're martial arts moves that are done like if he was a pizza. So
Huh.
you could punch and kick a guy and then pick them up and spin them around your head like if you were, you know, kind of spinning the pizza dough.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Death Stranding 2 is amazing.
I'm not going to explain why that hits a little too close to home for me.
Uh, but yeah, Death Stranding 2, definitely one of those games that's in the conversation for. Um, but of course, you know, once in a while, Nintendo wakes up and releases a game that is just amazing. And we recently had the Donkey Kong Bonanza game come out for the Switch 2. And it's funny seeing this game in the Game of the Year mentions. And obviously, we've had two other platformers that have both won and garnered those nominations. We look at games like Super Mario Odyssey, and we look at Astrobot, which were amazing platformers, did a lot to really push the genre forward. And Donkey Kong Bonanza is one that I'm like, I can see why it's in that conversation, but I don't know if it's on that level of like Super Mario Odyssey or Astrobot. And the reason for that is because the game is developed by the Super Mario Odyssey team. So the Mario Odyssey DNA very much ingrained as you play through Donkey Kong Bonanza, almost to the point that you're like, it's almost the same game. But it doesn't really do a lot to push the platform genre ahead. We've had Mario Odyssey do it, and we've had Astrobot do it. I just don't see it in the Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that's not to say it's not a bad game. It is a fantastic. I think if it's in that Game of the Year conversation, it's simply because, as we like to say on this show time and time again, it is a video game ass video game. And the way that Super Mario Odyssey was like this big love letter to all things Mario, Donkey Kong Bonanza is a gigantic love letter to any point of the Donkey Kong history, whether you remember the Donkey Kong games from the old arcade from the 80s, whether you grew up on the Donkey Kong Country game, whether the only game you played was Donkey Kong 64, or you played more of the recent ones like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong Country Returns. I think those were like the two most recent ones on the Wii or the Wii. I know they've recently been released on the Switch. But any point of Donkey Kong's history, there's something in this game to make you go, oh man, I remember that. The nostalgia is there. Especially me as someone who really loved the Donkey Kong Country game. They do so much to like remind you of how good those games were. And it's almost funny that the Mario Odyssey team does Rare better than Rare did. So it's a good game. It's basically Nintendo's version of Wreck-It Ralph. With Monkey that smashes things.
I haven't had to play it, so no notes for me, unfortunately. But I would like to try it out. I would like to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like saying like win Game of the Year, and I'm like, I don't know if it should win it. I definitely see it like. I guess this is me speaking just from a personal level of like, if I had to give you my top 10, I could easily put Donkey Kong Bonanza in my top 5 wholeheartedly. I just don't know where in the top 5 it would be. Most definitely not going to be number 1. But there are a lot of games, that have come out so far that are worthy of being in that Game of the Year discussion. Where they wind up, I guess that remains to be seen. And that's something we'll set up for, on our annual end of the year Game of the Year. But just know that as games come out, we will talk about ones that have impressed us heavily. Games like Clair Obscure Expedition 30, games like Split Fiction, Death Stranding 2, and Donkey Kong Bonanza. A lot of good games have come out this year. If you're a Switch 2 owner, I would definitely say Donkey Kong Bonanza is worth the price of admission. French Stranding. Oh my god, that's the best name I've heard for Clay Obscure. The opening prologue, dude. That opening prologue was heart wrenching. Like when the Gomage sequence happens, and you have the character Gustav and his love interest Sophie. And that moment where they just lock eyes, just like, I'm here, and she's like, I know. And she just like disappears into flowery paint petals, and I'm just like, oh man, we are in for it. And that's like just the prologue. The end of Act 1 was where I was like, what? How dare you? So, spoiler warning. You don't want to know what happens at the end of Act 1. I suggest you don't listen to like the next 30 to 60 seconds. The whole of Act 1, you experience everything through Gustav's point of view. He just lost his love. What do I do? He goes audition, and they build him up as this leader, charismatic character. He is voiced by Charlie Cox of Daredevil fame, and you're like, guy is man. And at the end of Act 1, when you get to the island, there's a twist of who's on the island, first of all. And then the game's just like, yeah, this character, oh, we're going to kill him off. And you're just like, what? And like, most of the party members, like half of them die. And at the end of Act 1, you're like, you start off with like 13 to 15 people, and it's like, here, final 6. Have fun with the rest of the game. Oh, by the way, that was the end of Act 1.
Jeez.
And I thought that would be like, wow, that's a great twist. This is amazing. The rest of this, it's just a roller coaster down the ride. I don't even want to get into what Act 2 does. When you actually find out like the real story behind everything. And it just makes the whole idea of, the game looking like a work of art, looking like a painting in action. Like that takes on an actual pathos in the game story. Because, surprise, you're in a painting. This painting was created by this woman who created this world because she couldn't accept the fact that her husband died. Oh, and in the real world, the painters are at war with the writers, and oh man, it just goes places. So yeah, there's a spoiler warning. I'm not going to talk about Act 3 because that's just the first 2 acts.
Okay, no, like that alone, really makes me want to check this game out. Also, Mario, I'm not okay, and this is just the summary.
I literally gave y'all the cliff notes of the acts. That is nothing. Like I thought the end of Act 1, I was like, oh, there's no way they can top this. And then you get to Act 2, and I'm like, what? And then when you get to the end of the game, you're just like, you're faced with a choice, one. And it's one of those impossible choices because they do the story so well that you feel for both characters at the end of the game when they're like, make this choice. And the choice is literally, hey, this is the final battle. Who do you want to play as? And you're just like, what? I don't want to make this choice.
I actually almost swore. Like, what?
So yeah, if you haven't figured out who my current game is,
it's like
rewarding. Might be clear obscure.
It's like the world's cruelest choose your own adventure. Why?
Uh, like, don't get me wrong, Death Stranding 2, amazing. I love Hideo Kojima. He knocks it out the park. Um, just those two games are like top of my list right now, and it's very hard for me to choose the two, mostly because of my loyalty to Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding 2 has some insane moments too. Don't get me wrong. I know we spoiled a lot for Clear Obscure just now. I'm gonna do y'all a solid just so you could figure it on your own. After you listen to this episode, just YouTube. Again, spoiler warning. Just YouTube Die Hard Man's Return, Death Stranding 2. And thank me later. One of the best moments in the game. And there's a metaphorical meaning behind it. Like, if you watch it without context, it's going to look like the weirdest thing ever. But in the context of Death Stranding 2, where you're in a world that is afraid of connection, there's this thread that happens because of that scene where they talk about how dance is the ultimate form of connection because we're moving our body, and it's a way to communicate. Like, dance is like one of the best. Basically, Hideo Kojima is like, dance is one of the most artistic forms of communication. To watch that scene, it'll make a lot more sense. But going into it without knowing that, you're like, what the hell did I just watch?
I feel like that's a lot of people when they randomly tune in the middle of an HCW show, but I mean,
So it doesn't end in a dance battle, but it's still very cool.
terrible game, 0 out of 10, no dance battle. I hate it. I demand a refund.
But if you want to get to the end of the game, Kojima also goes through this whole allegory of music as a form of connection and communication.
I'm a
And
classic.
then you have the most rock, the most rock and roll ending ever.
And see, here's the thing: I'm a classically trained musician, so I understand that better than anyone else.
I mean, if you want to go ahead and spoil that part for you, just
And I
YouTube Death
understand.
Stranding 2 Final Battle.
I'm just saying, dance battle would have brought the whole thing together, wrapped it up in a nice little bow. I'm just it would have made the game. Dance battles make games better. Quote that. Put it on a T-shirt.
Would you accept a guitar off?
Considering how much of a, I'm not going to use that word on this podcast, I am for like electric guitar and stuff like that. Yes, I think I think I would settle for that.
Okay, well then you would definitely love the end game of the Stranding 2.
I think this is the most I've ever had to hold back on language during a podcast. just the amount of what the effery that's been thrown at me in the past, how long we've been going, 50 minutes or so.
Just about.
It's just been like, it's just one after the other. I've actively had to like push to keep my filters in place. I know I can probably get away with one or two. I just don't want to give Mario any extra work in the editing.
But yeah, like those are three games that I've been playing within the past month, essentially. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. Got a lot of good games coming out. The summer is still here. Got some other notables that I want to try out. I want to check out Shadowland. That looks in the vitalized Pac-Man game. That one's like a mysterious looking game. I don't know if it's good or bad, but just looks interesting enough to check out.
I'm ashamed to admit it. A little bit. Not entirely, but a little bit. That my circle of friends are evil, and they have started to drag me back down the gotcha hole. Like I used to play. I never played Genshin or Honkai. The one I played was like Tower of Fantasy, was one that I played. It wasn't a Hoyoverse game. It was a different studio, but it was one that I really enjoyed, and it's the only gotcha game that I've ever actually put money into, because there was this one character's banner was happening, and I really wanted to pull for her because she's hot, and I'm gay. But I got away from that, and recently I've kind of been the two main ones that I'm being egged on to play. The first one being the one that's taken over the entire world now that it's been released over here in the West, that being Uma Musume. And then there's another one that a friend of mine really wants to play called Love in Deep Space. I don't know how I can describe Love in Deep Space in a way that's going to be family friendly or PG enough for this show.
Could always go with the weird. With some internet, which is basically horse girls.
I have actually really been enjoying it because it has the career mode where you pick one of your trainees that you pull from gotcha pulls, which I'm staying free to play, 100%. I'm not paying into it. I'm staying strictly free to play. But then it also does have a story mode where you can experience this pre-written story that is separate from the career mode. It's a separate storyline. And I've actually really been enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's super cute. I really get into the races as they're happening. I'm cheering my horse girl on, and I get really excited when they win. Or I feel really down. It's how did I lose? Okay, what went wrong? How did we lose that? But I've been getting really invested. I've started watching the anime on Crunchyroll. I just finished season 1. It was super adorable. Season 2 is starting to ramp up. I really, really, really like it. And if gacha and horse girls and horse girl racing if that is a niche that you are into, not you specifically, Ken, I know you're not, but you, the viewers.
Definitely not.
But if you are the viewers, if that's a niche that you're into, I highly recommend checking it out. It's free to play on mobile devices. It's free to play on Steam, and you can link your account you can link your data, so you can play on the same account on your phone and on PC, so any progress you make on one can then carry over to the other, which is actually super handy, because I can play it while I'm at work and then continue my story progress when I get home and sit down at my desk. But we're not going to talk about that. I don't have a problem. You have a problem.
You find me a good horse girl to gotcha for? No, I am 100% staying away from that game. I'm letting y'all love that. You can go and chase your horse girl waifu. I am politely sitting that one out.
Fair enough. I'm just here for the memes, honestly. Yeah, and because Gold Ship is best girl, hands down. And that's the last thing I'm going to say on it tonight. Before I go off on a whole. I could probably cover a whole episode on Uma Musume, and I'm not gonna subject you to that.
I mean, we could always discuss, gotcha games in general.
We could.
As a whole. I try to get into some of them, and then it's I always find a way out, and I never look back. So it's interesting, because I did try to get into the whole Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Power one. There was a Honkai Star Rail. Was another. Nope.
I think I'm gonna be honest. I think Honkai Star Rail might be the one that gets me. because
The
I
one that
do.
almost got
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the one that almost got me was Zenless Zone Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Then like that got too repetitive and too much of same stuff every day, and I was just like, nope. And yeah, I say that as an avid Destiny player, where most of my daily mission pretty much the same thing over and over again. But
Because I have two really good friends who play Honkai Star Rail, and who really enjoy it. And uh, one of them has actually cosplayed characters from the game at conventions before, and does a fantastic job of it. But I just like watching them play it on stream and like learning about how like in depth the story of Honkai Star Rail really is. I'm like, okay, like from a strictly narrative perspective, god damn it, you have my attention. And curse the fact that it also just so happens to be a gacha game. Like, why? But I don't know. That might be the one that finally gets me, because Uma Musume I'm playing casually enough. Honkai Star Rail, I'm worried about it completely taking over my life, especially if the narrative and the story is as intriguing as I'm being led to believe, because I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I love a good story, and I will let myself get lost in that with no effort. So if I do end up falling down the Honkai Star Rail rabbit hole, it's been nice knowing you. You will never see me again.
see you in a year. It's like R.I.P. Taylor. We knew her well. She succumbed to the gotcha of horse girl waifus and anime waifus.
I know what I like, okay? Shut up.
We'll have to do a revenge quest against the Hoyoverse. Bring her soul back.
Good luck.
Oh, man.
They beat
Yeah,
up
I think
side
that
games for
about-
her soul in a wallet. No. I am staying. I am making a pledge to myself. I am going to stay. If I do dive into any gotchas at all, I'm staying free to play. That is
Yeah.
that is a financial hole that I cannot afford to put myself in.
Indeed.
It's a slippery slope. All right. Any other closing notes, or shall we take this home?
I think we're good to go. So I will commence the monthly ritual of the outro duties.
The floor is yours, as it has been for the past 60 minutes, but I digress.
All right. Thanks for listening to us rant about many games and things like that. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, please check us out over at our Discord link being into the chat there. So, we commence to shilling, and you can talk to us about all the things that we talked on today's episode or prior episodes. You can check out our episodes. We are now on Spotify, so you can check out not just our podcast, but our sister podcast as well, DEE, for all your anime needs. Those are on their Spotify playlist. Check those out. If you wish to support us, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do so. One of the main ways that we ask you to do is just always like and subscribe to all of our various entertainment offerings. We're on Twitch. We have our YouTube. We have our various social medias there. and our main website, of course, digitaleraentertainment.com, for all our social media links, podcasts, written content, and more. We'd like to give a special thank to our sponsor, Image Anime. And over at imageanime.com, you use our promo code DISCOUNTSHIP, spelled exactly as it sounds, DEESCOUNTSHIP. That allows you to get free ground shipping on all in-stock item orders over $100 at imageanime.com. That offer at the end of the year. So if you yourself are an anime fan or know someone who's a fan of anime, let them know that they can save some money on shipping and check out the awesome products that are in stock over at imageanime.com. We're not just talking about games, we also are putting our money where our mouth is. Check out our own wrestling themed visual novel, Kokoro no Pro. Our teaser is up on our YouTube, and you can also check out our playable section, which is over at our itch.io page, Kokoro no Pro. Check out, play the game, try it out. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. We're hard at work on it. Game design isn't easy, but we're definitely going to get it into your hands once everything lines up and all things are done. But you can check it out now. Tell us what you think about the playable section that's over on our itch.io page. If you wish to support us even further, we do have merch. We have our own Digital Era Entertainment merch site where you can check out D hoodies, D tank tops, and a D mug for your beverage of choice. You can also check out all of our Kokoro no Pro merchandise there as well. All of it goes towards funding the development of the so we appreciate your patronage. And I think that's about it for the shilling. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back next month with some more gaming hot takes and some more gaming love. And we hope to see you on the next episode. But until then, as always, you've been decoded.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us across social media for updates. Thanks for watching!